All right, joining us now to talk about all this, Kevin Frey, Washington correspondent for Spectrum News, New York 1. Kevin, good morning to you.
Good morning, Casey.
The tone there from Tom Tillis, who's set to be really one of the people at the center of this, all of these confirmation fights, really kind of illustrates where this may be going, right? I mean, these confirmation fights are going to be quite something, and in some ways, the hits just keep on coming now with Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, what is kind of the next shoe to fall, if you will, in terms of what the next choice is and how that explodes on Capitol Hill to some extent. Notably with Tillis, of course, he's facing re-election in a matter of years, and he is representing a true battleground state in some sense because of, well, he's from North Carolina, so he does have to thread this particular needle where he has to, one, be subservient to Trump, but also stake his own independent grasp. I mean, it's extraordinary how this has kind of come to shape, but at the same time, Trump kind of forecasted a lot of this, especially after his own frustrations with his last cabinet, where they were not necessarily willing to line up behind him all the time, right. Particularly the AG, the Defense Department, providing some guardrails that he expressed a lot of frustration with.
Right. So let's talk big picture a little bit here about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and the Department of Health and Human Services, because, I mean, there had been some suggestions. Obviously, Trump was very clear he was going to give Kennedy some sort of role, but there had been a sense before the election that perhaps it wouldn't be a Senate confirmable position. It would not be the secretary job. It would be something else. Now we know that's not the case. So this is what our Stephen Collinson writes. But the president-elect's decision to put RFK Jr. in charge of the health of 350 million Americans, despite his stance on vaccines that contradict science-based research, it's likely to ignite a new debate about the potential real-world implications of the second Trump term that will begin in January. It could impact the medicines Americans use, the treatments and drug therapies that are approved, the inoculations used to protect the country's school kids from diseases like measles, and the food that everyone eats. If Kennedy's confirmed and another pathogen emerges, causes a pandemic in the next 4 years, he will be in charge of fighting it. I mean, the implications here are enormous.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of astounding when you tick through all of that. Now, one of the things you've seen is some Republicans, as we kind of now enter into this process of how do they process all the information you just laid out and then decide whether or not to vote for him, is that some are shifting their glances to some of his more non-controversial views, be it about combating chronic diseases, be it trying to make food healthier for school students. But at the same time, these are kind of the underlying concerns you see. I mean, one of the things that's extraordinary that kind of fits into the pattern, not only is it loyalty, it's also kind of, in some sense, a lot of his picks seem to have a great deal of disdain for the agency that they would be then tasked with running, be it the Pentagon thinking it's too woke, be it Gates, who has his own frustrations with the DOJ, given his own investigation by the DOJ at one point. So it fits into that pattern as well.
One, of course, piece of this that RFK Jr. is looking at is the ingredients in food, which, I think they're clearly, Jared Polis is the Democratic governor of Colorado. I think what he was talking about was vaccine mandates. But food quality, the number of ingredients in food, it is something that kind of crosses party lines, that there are a lot of, people who are interested in eating more organic, et cetera. Yeah. RFK Jr. had his own commentary on Donald Trump's diet recently. Let's just watch what RFK had to say about that quickly.
The stuff that he eats is really bad. It's not, campaign food is always bad, but the food that goes onto that airplane is just poison.
Just poison. Now, of course, Trump is famously known as loving, McDonald's and other, fast,
I remind myself that I was on here on McDonald's Day the last time a couple of weeks ago when he was at working the drive-through window.
The fry window, yeah. I mean, it's kind of, I don't think Trump really likes to be criticized, but it's interesting to hear Kennedy say that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is a degree of, any nutritionist would probably not disagree with him on that particular mark, that we know Trump's diet to be very focused on fast foods, and he seems to lavish and enjoy them. Is he going to get a pass for this sort of criticism? Probably, because it was said in jest, and also because he has been otherwise rather subservient to what Trump wants ever since he has joined the ticket.
Hence, or since he endorsed, for sure.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. Kevin Frey, thank you very much for being with us on this Friday. Great to have you. All right, coming up here on CNN.